Welcome to The Problematic Gaze with me, Dr. Lee Arnott.
And me, Dave Moore.
Each episode will take a piece of pop culture from yesteryear and ask ourselves the question, could you get away with it today? And if not, why not? And what does that say about society and culture then and now?
And while we take a deep dive into our chosen topic, we'll look at the cultural landscape of the year in question, just to put our TV show or film, whatever we're going to choose, into context. So,
Indeed.
How are you, Dr. Lee?
I'm all right, darling. Yeah. Following the excess of last week with the word, obviously.
We did get a little razzed up, didn't we?
We did get a little razzed up because it was very fitting for the word. We've now got our little cups of cocoa.
I've got some Ovaltine here.
Yes. Because this week we have taken the Telly TARDIS back to 1973 for a cosy look at one of the nation's favourite sitcoms, Dad's Army.
Dad's Army, yes.
The episode we're looking at is from October the 31st, 1973, and it's one of the big ones. It's one of the kind of iconic episodes, isn't it?
Well, it's the go-to in all the clip shows that you see of favourite comedies of all time. From this episode, this is the clips that get played, isn't it?
Indeed. It's called The Deadly Attachment. We'll talk about it in a moment. But what's your relationship with Dad's Army, Dave?
Well, whenever it was on, I thought, oh, this is going to be really boring. Went on to do something else instead. It was for your grandparents, wasn't it? And your parents.
Yeah.
It symbolised an old time. Obviously, it was filmed in the 60s and 70s, but it was set during World War II. And as a kid, what's more boring than watching a bunch of soldiers from World War II, etc.? Having watched it in more recent years, I've come to appreciate it for the classic that it is. I'm not sure if it's the show itself that I'm kind of fond of, or the nostalgia it kind of provokes in you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now that I'm more of a historian, you're a social historian, etc., you can appreciate what happened to the world in World War II, and in particular on the home front. So it is quite pertinent, isn't it? It's more pertinent as an adult watching it than it was as a kid, because it's just so bloody boring.
Yes.
What about you?
The same. My dad liked it, but it just felt like it was for old people. The music, the cast are mainly old.
Yeah.
And you're right, when you were a kid, especially in the 70s and 80s, you didn't care about World War II, did you?
No.
It just felt like something. Why do people
Well, it
keep
felt
talking
so long
about
ago.
it? Yeah. And I've never actually seen it. It's never appealed to me because of those preconceptions formed as a kid. So this was actually the very first full episode of Dad's Army I've sat down and watched.
But I will say, you probably knew the theme tune.
Yes. Oh, God, yes. Probably because something was on after Dad's Army, and I always used to remember that you have been watching them walking through with their camo on and stuff, you know. So, but it never appealed to me.
No,
No.
me neither.
No,
but
I know it's well loved.
yes.
And
Gazers, we have watched the episode in question before anyone says they don't watch what they're talking about. We did. We sat down and watched it, and we'll go through our thoughts on it and everything.
yes. Before we do that, do you want to tell us a bit about Dad's Army?
I will, because I think everybody in the UK of a certain age will know what Dad's Army is about, but our younger listeners in the UK might not, and certainly internationally you might not. Just for the benefit of our audio listeners, Lee's just
Demolished the set.
demolished the set and knocked our Best History Podcast Award.
Just trying to draw attention to it again in
Yeah.
the most subliminal way possible.
Our Best History Podcast Award, that we won at the Independent Podcast Awards this year.
Which we'll just never mention again.
We won't mention it.
mention it
No.
again.
Okay, Dad's Army.
Yes.
Okay.
I love the way you said some of our younger listeners.
Yeah.
Optimistic.
Some of our teenagers who listen
Yeah.
to us.
Some of the youth who regularly tune in.
The youth.
Yes. Hello, youth.
Hello, youth. We want our youth back, don't
Yeah,
we?
we do.
Oh. Okay.
Hey-ho.
Without further ado, here's the background bit.
Yes.
Dad's Army is a British television sitcom about the United Kingdom's Home Guard during the Second World War. It was written by Jimmy Perry and David Croft, familiar comedy writers in the UK. And it was originally broadcast on BBC One from 1968 to 1977. It ran for 9 series, 80 episodes in total, a film released in 1971, a stage show, and a radio version based on the television scripts were also produced. The series regularly gained an audience of 18 million viewers and is still shown in the UK and internationally. Dad's Army was based partly on co-writer and creator Jimmy Perry's experiences in the LDF, the local defence force, which later became known as the Home Guard, and highlighted a somewhat forgotten aspect of defence during World War II. By focusing on the comic aspects of the Home Guard in a cosy South Coast setting, some historians argue the television series distorted the popular perception of the organisation. Its characters represented the older volunteers within the Home Guard, but largely ignored the large numbers of teenagers and factory workers who also served. So that's like a little potted history, broad strokes history. Why don't you tell us what happened in the episode we watched?
I will. So the episode is called The Deadly Attachment. Captain Mannering's men have been detailed to guard a captured German U-boat crew until a military escort arrives. When the escort is delayed, the platoon must house them in the church hall overnight. Things take a dramatic turn when a hostage is taken and a grenade on a string becomes a matter of life and death. Just remember, everyone, don't tell him, Pike!
So this was a common conception of the Home Guard, that actually they didn't do very much because we didn't get invaded by the Germans, thankfully. So a lot of the time they were just spent on kind of military exercises or sat around drinking cups of cocoa and things, preparing for this, the very real threat that the Germans could invade, but they never did. So this episode is quite unique in the fact that they actually have something to do.
Right.
They've got German prisoners of war, essentially, haven't they, from this captured German U-boat?
Yeah. So Dad's Army is often framed as a kind of it's comfort TV, isn't it? It's just gentle humour, and actually not wrong. However, it's also a very powerful programme in the fact that it myth makes about the war in quite a profound way, actually. And for many viewers, the memory of Dad's Army, I suspect what you were saying before, the memory of Dad's Army actually replaces memories of real war. So we remember Dad's Army's version of the war as opposed to the real war itself. So one thing for us to think about is what kind of image of war does Dad's Army preserve, and what is it not saying about the Second World War?
It's really interesting, isn't it? Because when you think of the Second World War, and when you watch documentaries on it, etc., or listen to first-hand accounts of the Second World War, it was really grim for people in Britain.
Grim.
There was rationing, there was evacuation of the kids, the bombing of the cities, really,
crime, the blackouts, all of it.
Exactly, losing sons, fathers, cousins, uncles, nephews to the war.
Yeah.
But this, like, you're right, this presented a kind of a cosy version of it, didn't it? Really touched on those issues.
Absolutely. So before we take a deep dive, should we have a look at... No. Should we cross over to Culture Corner?
Should we do it?
Get a sense of 1973 for our listeners.
Absolutely. Culture Corner, Culture Corner.
Culture Corner, Culture Corner, Culture Corner.
We really need to sort that bloody jingle out.
I'm happy with it.
Okay, fair enough.
So, in 1973, Britain really sits at a cultural crossroads. The optimism of the 1960s has gone, and the economic and political crises which will plague the country from the mid-70s is just around the corner. So we're plonked right in the middle of this. It's also the year I was born, so there's a huge cultural event there.
The second coming.
The second coming.
Yeah, so it's a year where glitter and gloom coexisted together. So you had the glam rock of Top of the Pops, coupled with power cuts at home and a growing sense that Britain was really changing fast.
Yeah. On the 1st of January from 1973, for example, here's this change happening. The UK formally enters what will later become the EU. Now, this is highly controversial and will shape the political debate for the next 50 odd years.
Yes, still rumbling on now.
Still rumbling on.
Yeah, Britain was in Britain was deep in an era of strikes, inflation, power shortages. The miners' union was really powerful at this point, and that led to tensions with the Conservative government. They were really rising at this point. So by late 1973, the oil crisis triggered fuel shortages and set the stage for the 1974 three-day week. Oh, sounds bliss, doesn't it?
I know.
Yeah, but it wasn't. This contributed to a national mood of uncertainty and decline.
Actually, the 3-day week's quite interesting because a lot of people really enjoyed it. Yeah. And I think we talked about before that productivity remained the same. So it didn't go down. Everybody got their work done in 3 days and they had quite a nice time off.
Well, I suppose it's a bit like the lockdown and the COVID. If you were able to enjoy it, which I know a lot of people weren't, but if you were able to enjoy it, it was quite a nice time for people to be able to stop. And...
Yes. Yeah, the sale of camping stoves shoots up, and board games shoots up, and for a lot of families, it's kind of quality family time, playing games with each other, and anyway, it becomes one of those national myths, doesn't it? The 3-day week. Unfortunately, the conflict in Northern Ireland becomes more visible, with IRA bombings in London, including the March bombing of the Old Bailey. This deeply affected public consciousness and media coverage. Suddenly it's on your own doorstep as opposed to being this abstract happening over there. Yeah.
Well, that was the doom.
Yes.
And gloom. Let's have a look at the glitz and glam. So just like 1972, glam rock is at its peak. David Bowie is at the height of his Ziggy Stardust era, which we've talked about prior to this. So and then we've got
Side and Adventure episode a couple of weeks back, 72.
Yeah, and then we've got T-Rex, Roxy Music, Slade, and Sweet dominated the charts and fashion. So we had gender-bending style, we had glitter, and we had theatricality, and they all went mainstream.
Indeed. It says something that the song that was number one the week I was born was Sweet with Blockbuster. And I'm just going to say, I think it subliminally affected me in the womb. So, one of the most important albums ever is released this year when Pink Floyd released The Dark Side of the Moon in March. The album becomes a cultural phenomenon and reflects anxieties about time, money, madness and modern life. And of course that cover's iconic, isn't it? The prism of light, isn't it? Have you listened to Dark Side of the Moon?
Probably when I was stoned as a student at some point. So in film, we've recorded an episode on this film, and it's one of your favourites, and subsequently it's become one of mine after Lee prompted me to watch it. It's The Wicker Man.
Make the baby grow.
So The Wicker Man is released in 1973. It's now considered to be one of the greatest British films ever made. It's got themes of paganism versus modern authority, and that tapped into the cultural unease and counterculture interests.
Take the fire inside you, fire burn below.
I mean, it's like an acid trip, that film, isn't it?
Fucking great. I
But
love
please refer back to our Wicker Man episode because it is a good one.
And please watch it because it's just fucking great. In fashion, it's still all platform shoes, flares, flamboyance. Men and women were wearing huge flared trousers by this point. Bright colours everywhere. Satin. You can't move for satin. I'm surprised there wasn't like spontaneous human combustions across the nation. Traditional norms around gender and appearance are being challenged at this point. But you have to... Yes, undoubtedly they are, but for the average person on the street, we're still quite a conservatively dressed nation, you know.
Well, I suppose it's kind of like the swinging 60s with all this free love and sex everywhere. I mean, it's like that for a kind of like a confined few in the
usually
cities,
urban, yes, exactly. It's like later on with the new man, you know, new man doesn't fucking exist. Like working class areas and stuff, you know, you're not getting any men ironing in Ashington and Northumberland. Yeah, exactly.
If you're a royalist, big year.
Yes.
If you're not, let's gloss over this bit. Princess Anne gets married in November. She marries Captain Mark Phillips in a major television event watched by millions.
Yes, indeed.
Princess Anne, thoughts?
I have no thoughts.
Okay. Let's move on.
There's a continued sense that Britain is smaller, poorer, and less important. Empire has fragmented. We're getting more and more countries declaring independence. And just like Dad's Army starts in 68, 67 or 68, the same year as the Forsyte Saga. Listen to our episode on Downton Abbey. But these shows act as a panacea for a country that's feeling uncertain about itself and its future. Dad's Army isn't really about World War II. It's about how Britain copes with no longer being the hero or even the centre stage.
Oh,
yeah.
That's interesting.
There we go. I will come back to that point.
Well, speaking of Dad's Army.
Yes.
Now, a lot of people might not know what the Home Guard actually was or consisted of. So I'll tell you a little bit about...
Do tell us.
The Home Guard. Okay, so the Home Guard was a British civilian defence force formed in 1940 during the Second World War, obviously. It's created to defend the United Kingdom against a possible German invasion after the fall of France. It's largely made up of volunteers who were either too old, too young, or in reserved occupations to serve in the regular armed forces. So reserved occupations, things like doctors, weren't they? They were like steel workers.
The essential workers, basically.
Workers.
Think of COVID.
Yeah.
Who's allowed to work and who isn't.
Yeah. So the Home Guard provided local defence by guarding key sites such as bridges, factories, airfields and coastal areas, which is Warmington-on-Sea, where Dad's Army's set. As well as assisting with patrols and emergency duties. Initially, it was really poorly equipped and lightly trained, but the force gradually became more organised and better armed, eventually numbering about 1.5 million members. And while it never fought an invading army, it played an important role in maintaining morale and supporting Britain's overall war effort.
Good. Very good.
Yes.
So let's think about this episode and who's got the power in this episode, because it's a very specific group of people. And the men in this episode they're lovable, they're fallible, they're not good at the job, are they? But they're ultimately heroic. So it's about them. There's no women in this episode at all. And in fact, throughout the show, there's very little appearances by women. Not uncommon for TV in 1973. Doctor Who, for example, has several stories around the mid-70s which have no women at all, apart from the companion. But women did serve in the Home Guard. First unofficially, and then later recognised as the Women's Home Guard Auxiliaries. And they are mainly put, like women in the army were until the 1990s, in secretarial and admin roles. There's always been a fear and a horror in the army of arming women. So women are not allowed to carry firearms, even though they're in the Home Guard. They get a badge, not a uniform.
Right.
But many perform duties which are just as demanding as the men's. And support local defence. But they are completely absent from Dad's Army, this role. As are the role of the hundreds of thousands of immigrant and non-white Britons who are fighting for Britain from the Empire. Hundreds of thousands from India, from the Caribbean, come and join in the fight as well. Often billeted in the UK, no sign of them. But again, we're in a tiny town, so not surprising. And the enemy, as we see specifically in this episode, are either faceless, they're talked about, or when they do appear, they're somewhat absurd, aren't they? So the show is very much, the power rests in this group of men, because actually they're the only ones in it. And now, it's a very male world. And I'd like to introduce our listeners to what's going to be the first of a semi-regular feature, because nothing quite has its finger on the pulse of the nation like the hallowed pages of the Argos catalogue. So we're going to cross over to the House of Argos and look at the section from 1973 called For Him, because this is a very male show. There are some corkers, aren't there, Dave?
For our international listeners,
yes.
Should we describe what they are?
Yes.
Argos catalogue is.
Argos was a shopping revolution, wasn't it? Because rather than a shop being filled with stock that you browsed, it was a shop that just had catalogues. And you'd look through the catalogue, choose what you want, go to the counter, and someone would go and retrieve it for you. It was mind-blowing.
It was great. I mean, you used to look forward to the Argos catalogue being delivered to your door, or you'd go into store, the new Argos catalogue.
Yeah.
You'd flick through.
Yeah.
And obviously not buy much, but just choose what you might want.
Yes, yeah,
which
and
is what we're going to do now.
And they're a brilliant social barometer of how people were living and what they were using, what they were wearing, what they were kind of kitchen equipment they had, stuff like that. They're a great way to kind of tap into everyday life in Britain at the time. So here we have the section for him.
And what we should say is that we're going to pop these on our socials.
Yes.
So if you go to @podcastgays on Instagram and TikTok,
Yeah.
we'll put these Argos pages up so you
We'll
can
put
see
these
as
pages
well.
up. I mean, they're beautiful. Some of the things are amazing.
Yeah.
So we're just going to choose a couple of items each from each page. So the first page, there's smoking. Everybody's smoking at this point. You can buy a luxury set of pipes. They are London-made Briar tobacco pipes with a smooth finish. Recommended retail price £2.95, darling. Argos price £1.95.
Well, there you go then.
My dad smoked a pipe.
Did he?
Pipe smoking was really big among young men in
Yes.
the 70s. Yeah. It was
It'd be
really
very
weird.
unusual to see people smoking pipes now.
Really? I was just thinking the other day, I don't even know if you still get pipe cleaners. Do you remember? The
yes.
staple of Blue Peter making things and
Yeah.
craft at school, but
Yeah, I remember making. Do you know 2001: A Space Odyssey? It was like that round spaceship that looked like a bit like a bicycle tire.
yes.
Trying to make one of them out of pipe cleaners for school.
How did it go?
Failed miserably.
Yeah.
It didn't look like anything. Just a bunch of pipe cleaners tied together.
Yeah.
And the intention was there.
It's there.
Yeah.
Sticks are making sheep.
Yes. I've spotted something on this
What did you
page that I
spot?
really like. So, this is number 6, item number 6. It's the Lynx, not the Lynx deodorant.
No.
It's just called the Lynx. It's a gents stud box lined in velvet, made in Sweden. So what it is, it's basically like a jewellery box. If you can imagine the jewellery box with the fairies in them.
Yes.
For women, but it's for men. So it's just to put your odds and sods
Just
in.
to put your cufflinks, your studs.
Yeah, your cufflinks in. But I suppose you could put some cigars in there if you want.
And it's multi-purpose, isn't it?
Yeah, you can put stuff in there that you don't want anyone else to find, because actually when you close it up, it looks like a book that you can hide in a bookcase.
You can store money in it.
You can store money in it. You can probably store some dirty pictures in it.
That's really after my granddad died. He has actually something similar to this.
Yeah.
And we knew there was a wad of cash in his house somewhere, and nobody could work out where it is. And I said, Lee, will you go and have a look? So I went to his bedroom, and I was looking at his bookshelves, and it's all like Robert Ludlum, Dick Francis, and in the middle there's a book that looks like this. It was like a Charles Dickens. I went, hang on a second, pulled it open, opened it. It's like the stud box, and there was cash in there.
Well, maybe he got it from the Argos catalogue.
Maybe he did.
Yeah,
maybe he
that's
did.
the one that it was.
Can't remember actually, but maybe it was. Now the next page, tankards. Very popular.
yes.
You can buy all kinds of different tankards with inscriptions on them. You can get they're silver plated ones, a Georgian style tankard. There is a stainless steel tankard in a Tudor style. There is all kinds of tankards.
Well, I mean,
weird.
it was quite usual for somebody, if you're a regular in a pub, to have your individual tankard behind the bar, wasn't
Yeah.
it? That they'd pop your beer in.
Yeah.
I remember Pete Beale had one in EastEnders.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yeah.
Yes.
I think my dad had one as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a real stamp of authority if you had your own tankard
Yeah,
behind the
proper
bar.
blokey thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Got me tankard.
Do you remember you used to get christening, not tankards, but little christening cups?
Yes.
Like silver, like engraved with your name and everything. Still got mine.
Have you?
Yeah.
I haven't. Don't think I was christened. I was christened.
Probably sold it for crack. I've spotted something on this page.
Yes.
Okay, which I really like. It's item number 14. It's the gents swagger set, comprised of clothes brush, cufflinks, and a box.
And a box.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
good.
is obviously before lint rollers.
Yes.
Remember,
Yes.
it's like when you're rubbing it on your clothes and it all comes off on the sticky bit.
Yes.
You used to have clothes brushes.
That's
didn't you?
right. Yes. Yeah. My granddad was very particular about his appearance. He'd always be in a suit when he went to the club, and he was always brushing himself. You know, he took great effort over his appearance, my granddad. Because again, appearance was important to working class men, wasn't it?
They were, weren't
Yeah,
they?
absolutely, absolutely. The next page, we've got a plethora of pens. Do you remember we used to get a Parker for Christmas? They got a load of Parker pens here. There's Schaefer pens. There's some quite nice pens, actually.
They are. They were kind of like a little, not status symbol, but, you know, if you had a nice posh pen.
Yes.
And there's fountain pens here. Do you remember trying to use fountain pens at school?
I loved a fountain pen. It was only very recently I stopped using fountain pens because I don't really write anymore, but I always used a fountain pen right up until...
Really?
Yeah. I always write better with them.
Oh, they used to leak all over your hands.
Yeah.
Little replacement cartridges
Yeah.
you could get at school. And you used to write, and then you used to get blotting paper, didn't you?
Yes,
to put over
that's
it.
right.
And everything. Hated them.
Loved
Give
it.
me a biro any day of the
Loved
week.
them.
But I'm a modern man, you see.
I see I'm trapped in the 18th century,
Yeah.
clearly. Give me a quill.
I've spotted something here that I would absolutely adore, and it is number 6, Electro Valet Trouser Press, thermostatically controlled with a timer switch, built-in hanger and tray. It's basically a Corby trouser
Lovely.
press
Lovely.
that you see in every kind of hotel, or you used to see in every hotel, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah. My granddad had one of those as well.
Did he?
Yeah, trouser press. Yeah. And the next page is just spectacular. It is just 2 pages of lighters.
Yes.
Some of them are absolutely gorgeous. As I said, we'll post these pictures because some of them are stunning. They're so kind of chunky. Did you used to have a chunky lighter on your mantelpiece? We did.
Yes.
Yeah. Stopped working, but the lighter stayed there.
Yeah.
My grandma had one. My nana and granddad had one. You know, a big chunky lighter. And some of these are beautiful, really beautiful.
One of them that isn't beautiful is this clunky onyx one with a silver lighter on the top. Mm-hmm. Yeah, not one of my favourites. But I mean, some of them like pretty zhuzh for the Argos catalogue, don't they?
They really do. They
Yeah.
really do. That onyx one's one of my favourites.
Is it?
I love it.
I might
Love
buy
it.
buy you one for Christmas now you don't smoke anymore.
Yeah, there we go. Wonderful. So that was the House of Argos. We will be returning back to theirs at some point in the future in a semi-regular feature, won't we?
Yes.
Yeah, very
That's
nice.
interesting.